This is the LZR Project, an episodic story series by David and Alderman. The LZR Project takes place within David's Expired Reality universe and serves as a prequel to the main novels in his Expired Reality series. You can find out more about David's Expired Reality series at davidandalderman.com. Episode number 19. Tuesday, May 5th, 1998. David leaned back in his office chair and stared at the journal pages which had been crumpled and folded over 1,000 times over. The papers contained a detailed list of some of Mr. Bigg's contacts. David's plan was to use the journal itself to lure one of Mr. Bigg's associates, or Mr. Big himself, into a trap. Instead, he had stumbled across the costumed vigilante calling herself Persimmon. Sean's name appeared on one of the pages, 4 names down. A note had been written in the margin regarding Sean's dealings with Mr. Big, black market weapons acquisitions and sales. The fact did nothing to disturb David's calm demeanor. In fact, he would have been surprised if Sean had never attempted to moonlight with the enemy. David just needed to figure out when and how to act on this information. David's cell phone buzzed. He looked at the unlisted number and made a split-second decision to answer it, even though he would have rather sat at his desk all night and ponder Sean's treachery. "Is this Mark?" a woman's voice asked. "Mark? Mark, yes, this is Mark. This is Vicky. I was just calling to see if you were still planning on meeting up with me tonight. We had a blind date scheduled, and I'm here at the restaurant waiting for you." David slammed his fist against his desk. He checked his watch, dismayed to find it past 7 p.m. already. "That's okay. We can call it off if you—" "No," he said. "Give me 20 minutes, and I'll be there." "Okay, David hung up the phone and rushed into the hallway, blowing past Sean and Carrie who were exchanging research on a mission or something else entirely. He went to the locker room and changed out of his jeans and t-shirt and into a white dress shirt and black pants. He threw his leather jacket over the ensemble and then, with a second thought, rushed back to his office and locked the journal pages into his top desk drawer. He made it to the rusted spigot within 15 minutes. Small white lights danced around the edges of the roof, lending a bright glow to the green ivy twisting in victory around latticework. The lattice replaced windows which the restaurant would have had David owned the place. It was the only restaurant he knew of that didn't have windows, aside from the little one in the front door, and it was probably the reason the place wasn't as popular as many of the other dining establishments in the area. It was a beautiful place otherwise, one David had always envisioned coming to with Carrie. Unfortunately, Carrie's demeanor the last week or so had soured David's mood toward her. A blind date seemed like the best way to distract himself from the tension. Although he would have rather spent more time contemplating Sean's actions, or the mystery surrounding Scarlet Rogue, he knew he needed a break. He had used an online alias to prevent anyone from springing a trap on him, which had already happened once with Scarlet Rogue. David recognized his date by the purple and oval jewel fruit brooch in the center of her chest, pulling her black dress together. She stood outside the restaurant, a weak smile on her face. Stray blonde bangs fluttered in front of her eyes from the gentle breeze that moved through the city. "I'm so sorry," David reiterated. "I just got caught up—" "It's okay," Vicky said. She stared into his face, and then a wide smile spread from cheek to cheek. "David Corbin?" He nodded and motioned for her to keep quiet. "Please try and keep this off the radar, okay? I just want to have a nice night out without any drama." Vicky nodded. "Of course, I can't believe I get to have dinner with David Corbin." "Just think of it as a normal night out, please." "Yes, okay," she said. She motioned with her black clutch toward the restaurant. "Gentlemen first." David nodded and led them through the front door. Once he stepped foot into the restaurant, he knew something was off. For a Friday night, even for this little-known restaurant, the place was eerily quiet. The hostess podium had been deserted. The tables in the dining room, usually decorated in candlelight and white roses, were all empty. And David couldn't find any sign of waiters or waitresses. Vicky shoved David into the center of the main dining room. He careened into one of the tables but managed to use the table to push himself back. He swung around to strike Vicky but halted once he saw the pistol in her hand. "Sit," she growled. David reached to his back pocket for his boomerang, only to find it missing. Vicky held up her other hand, waving his weapon of choice in the air. "Looking for this?" She brought the gun to his forehead, pushing the muzzle against his skin. "I can't believe you fell for this so easily. Anasia's greatest hero, my ass." Others entered the restaurant through the front door. 2 men in gray turtlenecks, and a woman in a dark gray sweater dress approached the dining room carrying a beaten and bloodied police officer. They sat him down in a chair across from David. Did he give you any trouble? Vicky asked as she set David's boomerang on the hostess podium. The woman in the sweater dress shook her head. Nope. Once I beat the shit out of him, he came quietly. Might have bit his tongue real good, though. David looked across the table at the police officer. The man's face had been badly beaten. Blood stained his uniform, and bruises and welts marred various areas of his body. He opened a black and blue eye to David and gave a slight nod, saying nothing. Officer Stanton. David remembered meeting the man many years earlier, the night David had his first run-in with Mr. Big. What's this all about? David sneered. Vicky handed David her gun. Reluctantly, he took it from her and then pointed it at her. She laughed. No, David, not me. She pointed to Officer Stanton. Him. You're going to shoot him. Not hardly, he said. Vicky kicked him in the stomach, sending him back into a chair. That gun is going to be used to kill the man sitting next to you. Not me, not my friends. Him. Officer Carl Stanton. Kill him. Now. David righted himself, took a deep breath to quell the new pain in his gut, and set the gun on the surface of the table. No. You really don't want to test my patience tonight, David. He glanced toward Officer Stanton. You okay? It seemed like a stupid question, seeing how the man was beaten to a pulp. But the officer nodded just the same, his calm blue eyes betraying how he really felt. He's not okay, Vicky said. He's about to die, at your hands. David stared at the gun, trying his best to muster the courage to pick it up and use it against Vicky and her cohorts. His heart raced, just knowing he could put a stop to this with one single action. But he couldn't bring himself to pick up the pistol, let alone use it. Vicky waved her friends toward the kitchen area. Then she took a seat at the table across from David and Officer Stanton. I need you to do this one thing, David. Just this one thing. It's not a big deal, really. I just need you. She took the gun off the table and pointed it at Officer Stanton's forehead. The man flinched but kept his eyes open and on David, who showed no reaction to the woman's violent behavior. David, why can't you see this one thing needs to be done? You have the gun to his head, David said. You kill him. She turned to David, keeping the gun steadily aimed at Officer Stanton's head. It's not me he wants to change, David. It's you. Who? Who else? She answered with a smirk. Mr. Big, he said. She nodded. You are smart, David, but you're not good enough. Not for him. I have no interest in becoming good enough for him. You should, though. He has much to offer if you'd only take time to try and understand him. You're so damn quick to judge people. You misjudged me, didn't you? Thought I was a damsel you could have a nice little dinner and chat with? Mr. Big is a criminal, Vicky. Nothing you say or do will convince me otherwise. Vicky set the gun on the table. Don't you see, David? She pleaded. Don't you see that he wants the very best for you? You're sick in the head, Vicky. Maybe. A little. But that hasn't affected my judgment. I didn't bring you here to bring about bloodshed. I brought you here to change the city. To change it for the best. She motioned with her arms to the city around them. This stinkhole. This cesspool. It's gotten old and stale and I can't breathe here, you know? Vicky pulled an inhaler out of her pocket and took a puff from it. My lungs. She patted her chest and then leaned against the table. My lungs can't handle this air anymore. I want this city to change, and I will change it from the inside out. I will change it. Mr. Big will change it. You will change it. I will, he said, for the good. Then we are on the same team, David, the three of us. I have nothing to do with you or Big or... The front door burst open with so much speed that it hit the wall behind it, shattering the little window, raining glass across the floor. Party's over, biatches! Persimmon, dressed in her black and purple spandex costume, sauntered into the dining room pointing a gun at Vicky. The costume Persimmon wore had tears in it, and most of it looked as if it had shrunk in the wash, it was so tightly glued to the woman's body. Even her mask had scorch marks running around it, leaving David to wonder what the wannabe hero had been up to recently. What are you supposed to be? Vicky asked, waving her crew back when they began to stir at the intrusion. Persimmon, she answered. I'm here to save David. David? Vicky motioned to him. He sat still in his chair, his mind racing to figure out a way to escape the restaurant with Officer Stanton. He doesn't need rescuing. We're simply having a meeting. On the other hand, Officer Stanton here is the victim, a tool for demonstration purposes to develop David's character and get him moving in the right direction. David stood. Vicky looked at him but kept her gun steady on Persimmon. What are you doing? I'm leaving, he said, with Officer Stanton. I don't have time for these games. And you, he pointed to Persimmon, you better get out of here before you get yourself hurt. You don't tell me what to do. I'm Persimmon, and I protect this city. And I've just saved your life, so how about a little bit of thanks? Vicky turned and pointed the gun at Officer Stanton. "If either of you move, I'll shoot him. Right in the head. He has a family, you know. I've met them. His wife, a lawyer. If this guy dies, I can send all sorts of legal shit down on you, David. I have ways of twisting things, of manipulating things." David did nothing to startle Vicky. He believed she would shoot Officer Stanton, if only to prove herself as greater than Mr. Big. "You won't shoot him," Persimmon announced. Vicky looked directly into David's eyes, and then she smiled a smile that asked if he was willing to go as far as she was. When the gunshot rang out, David's heart jumped. He saw the brain matter fly across the dining room, and he turned away and took a deep breath to keep from losing his stomach contents. Persimmon dropped her gun and fell to her knees in shock. Vicky put her arm around David. She dropped her gun into his lap. "It could have been you, kiddo," she whispered in his ear. "It could have been you who killed Officer Stanton. But no, you made me do it. You forced me into a corner. When you force wild dogs, the pretty bulldogs of Lysalis, into a corner, you better be ready for a fight, because we come out clawing and screaming and tearing the shit out of everything in our path." David watched the blood drip from Vicky's jovial face. Officer Stanton's blood, the life essence of a good man. "You'll pay for what you did to that man." She nodded, slapped him on the back, and then walked past Persimmon before turning her attention to David once again. "One way or another, you'll see things Mr. Big's way. He has a way about him, one that cannot be explained in words. You'll find that out the hard way if you don't do your best to accept it right now. You walk out of here," he seethed, "and I'll make sure to hunt you to the corners of the planet to bring you to justice." "No need for that, David. There's a war coming to this city, and when it comes, I guarantee you that we will be seeing each other on the battlefield." Vicky walked out the door with her entourage of henchmen. As much as he didn't want to, David stepped around the table to see what was left of Officer Stanton. Half of the man's skull was missing. David wanted to at least try and comfort Persimmon, but she too had left. Sirens rang out in the distance, and David could do nothing but let out a cry of remorse for a man of the badge who didn't deserve to be caught in this crossfire. Thank you for listening to the LZR Project. If you are interested in reading more of David's Expired Reality series, please check out the author's webpage at davidnalderman.com.